What an incredible journey it's been with you guys. Thank you for all of your thoughts, your comments, your questions, your insights. It's been such a blessing to grow with you. Thanks for the challenge and the inspiration to continue my faith walk. I want to thank you for that. It's been an honor to be in class with you. I kind of want to take a few moments and reflect back over who I am and what I've learned about myself, and then look into the future of and cast a vision for what life is going to be like after class and some of the goals that I have. You see, in Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey quotes this maxim. He says, sow a thought, reap an action, sow an action, reap a habit, sow a habit, reap a character, sow a character, reap a destiny. My trouble has always been in sowing seed. The challenge for me has always been in that. Some of the things that I intentionally do, some of the things I unintentionally do, I find that I sometimes don't realize what's happening until after I've already reaped a harvest, and by then it's a little late. I was very challenged by Smith's book on really learning what values are in there and what underlying values control who I am and what I've done. You see, I tend to be an introvert and task oriented, and with that kind of go mentality, and in the family I was raised in, our family motto was kind of see a need, fill a need. You just kind of did it. You just jumped in both feet. And through our time together, I noticed that set aside adequate time for meditation and solitude was a challenge, but it was so refreshing. It was a challenge because there was no product on the end of it. There was nothing after it was done. It felt I felt almost guilty taking that moment, sitting back and not doing anything. Almost like when I practice the Sabbath, I feel almost guilty in that. And so these activities, I find them so refreshing, though, and that was so beneficial to me. And so as I look forward, I need to take Dallas Willard's advice to heart when he says, ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. That's one of my goals. In fact, one of the things that I find is the discipline that I lack most, I think, is simplicity. Not just material possessions. I've been growing in that area and eliminating a lot. I once had 10 white shirts. Who needs 10 white button-down shirts? I don't even wear them that often. I was able to bless somebody else with them. But in my schedule, my activities, I tend to accumulate activities. I haven't learned to say no, kind of family culture, task oriented, go getter. I just want to be active. But the reality is, I need to release that to God and trust Him. So I have kind of three overarching theological goals um, that are going to shape my thinking. The first is I want to be present in the moment. I want to live in the present reality. Often I let technology and thoughts and tasks distract me from the moment I'm in, and I miss out on those God given opportunities to be with people and to do the action He requires me to do now because I'm planning for the future. I'm looking into what is coming down the road, or something distracts me. One of the best ways I've found to address this, and I think that is going to be most beneficial to me, is through the intentional practice of a Sabbath. A Sabbath is not just a day off, but it is a day moving forward. It is a day to glorify God. It is a day to trust Him to move in our life. I was inspired by Heschel's description of how his family prepared for the Sabbath as the climax of their week, and they would set aside time and they'd prepare for it, and then it would rejuvenate them to go into the next week and launch them forward into the next week. That is one of the things that I truly want. And so I really want to be much more intentional with the Sabbath. And I really think it can eliminate a lot of this activity that I just find myself rushed into. The second part of that is I was challenged by Brueggemann's idea of Sabbath as resistance. And for me, Sabbath as resistance would be a resistance to hurry, to adding things to my schedule, to overwhelming me with all these burdens. So I want to live in the present through the practice of the Sabbath. The second thing I want to do is I want to become a visible representation of Christ in my home. As a father of two small children, I find that my best times to practice the disciplines are in the morning before they wake up or in the evening after they've gone to bed. We have our daily devotional as a family, and we sing and we pray and we read together. But they don't get to interact. They don't get to have that "what are these stones" moment that the children of Israel had, where they ask about these stones. What do these stones mean? And Israel just begins to tell them, the fathers, and tells them, what is this? This is what it looks like. Smith points out that children's habits and imaginations have a high plasticity, and that this is an opportunity and a challenge. I want to take more advantage of the opportunity. I want to show them that spiritual disciplines are a part of life. Spiritual practices are a part of who we are as Christians. The greatest example I've had of this is my friend Vlad's dad. I stayed the night in college at his house, and I saw him wake up. I heard a rumbling in the dining room, and I peeked out and saw him out there reading his Bible and praying. And as his family would walk through, he would invite them into his moment and share with them what he was reading or pray with them. And it was just this unplanned thing, but he'd invite them, and they had this opportunity to interact with their Father in a blessed way. And I hope that I can do that too. That's one of those things that I really want to start to practice the disciplines and show my children that it's a natural part of life. Thirdly, I want to interconnect the practice of the disciplines with some of the ones that I challenge with, like an extended period of solitude, with some of the ones that I'm better at, like prayer or study, or even starting to delve into meditation, and see that if I can practice those disciplines together, I might be able to go deeper into the ones that I'm weak in, the ones that I struggle with. For instance, when I first started prayer, I started intercessory prayer. I never thought of myself as a prayer person or a prayer warrior until I started praying for a chair, and I put a person in it in my head. The person who sat there Sunday, I prayed for them, I interceded for them, and then I prayed for another person in the chair, and I learned to pray by doing that, because at the end of the day, when I look back after my time, I saw how many individuals I prayed for. It gave a physical representation of what I was doing. In the same sense, solitude is that way for me. I found that when we practiced solitude 2 weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, I found that we practiced it, and when we journaled it, I was able to see the results of that through my writing and through what was going on. So if I can incorporate the disciplines and tie them together and give them physical reminders, I think it would be a great way to crawl, walk, run into these disciplines, to begin small and kind of learn to run in them and to learn how to grow in them. After all, Richard Foster says, pray as you can, not as you can't. And he also reflects that, it reminds us that Christ always meets us where we're at and takes us into the deeper levels with him. So these are some of the goals that I have, to live in the present, to become a visible presence of Christ in my home, and to interconnect the disciplines so that I can grow in them. And to keep these, I want to keep a daily planner, a day planner, to hold me accountable. I want to schedule these things in, because I'm less likely to eliminate an appointment than I am just to say, well, tomorrow I was going to fast, but I don't think I'm going to do that today or do that anymore. I can actually set that aside and begin to work in that, keeping a schedule. And I also want to schedule reflection times, so look back over what's going on, so that I can discover the deeper meaning of the activities that I've included in my time, the things that form me and deform me. When I look at that, perhaps I can catch things before they come to harvest. I can catch those seeds that I've been planting before they come to harvest. I also want to look into, this will also give me opportunity to review my year in July and in December, and do a mid-year review and kind of assess things before they take seed and take root. Guys, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you. Thank you for the journey, and God bless you as you continue to go after God. And I'm looking forward to what this next year holds. God bless. Bye-bye.